Welcome to At Home with Music as we begin our series on women composers. And the first composer that I'd like to feature is Lili Boulanger. Of course, the name looks like it should be pronounced Boulanger, but don't you dare pronounce it that way. Actually, her full name is Marie-Juliette Olga Boulanger, and so Lili was kind of like a nickname. She was born 21st of August, 1893, in Paris, France. She was a child prodigy. Now, a child prodigy, that's somebody who shows tremendous musical talent at a very early age. Probably the most famous composer that everybody knows as a child prodigy was Mozart. Lili's talent was quite apparent even when she was 2 years old. The famous composer Gabriel Fauré was a friend of the family, and later he was one of Lili's teachers. And he discovered, when she was just 2 years old, that she had perfect pitch. Now, perfect pitch, that's the ability to hear a note and know what it is without any reference, or the ability to sing a note. If somebody told you, sing a C, and you were able to do it without any kind of reference, that's perfect pitch. Another name for it is absolute pitch. Now, Lili's parents were both musicians, and so they encouraged their daughter's musical education. Her mother was a Russian princess named Riza Maishetskaya, and she married her teacher at the Paris Conservatoire, Ernest Boulanger. And her grandfather, Frédéric Boulanger, was a noted cello player, and her grandmother, Juliette, was a singer. The family very much encouraged young Lili, and she accompanied her 10-year-old sister, Nadia, to classes at the Paris Conservatoire before she was 5 years old. And she sat in on classes on music theory, and she studied organ. She also sang. She also played the piano, the violin, the cello, and the harp. In 1912, when she was still a teenager, she competed in a competition called the Prix de Rome. Now, the Prix de Rome was a French scholarship for art students. It was established in 1663 during the reign of Louis XIV of France, and it was initially for painters and sculptors. And the winners were awarded a scholarship that allowed them to stay in Rome for 3 to 5 years at the expense of the state and to continue their studies. The prize was extended to include architecture in 1720, and then finally in 1803, there was a Prix de Rome music competition. Debussy, a composer that I mentioned when we studied the Impressionists, won the prize for music in 1884. Maurice Ravel attempted to win the Prix de Rome. He tried 5 times and failed in every attempt. In 1912, Lili Boulanger competed in the Prix de Rome, but during her performance, she collapsed because she was ill. One of the unfortunate things about Lili is that her health was very fragile. She had a nearly fatal case of pneumonia when she was 2 years old. She survived, but it seems that her immune system was compromised, and so for all of her short life, she was suffering frequently from various illnesses. So she was not able to win the prize on her first attempt in 1912. But in 1913, at the age of 19, she entered the Prix de Rome again and won the composition prize for her Faust et Hélène, becoming the first woman composer to win the prize. Her older sister, Nadia Boulanger, had given up entering the Prix de Rome. She had tried 4 times and eventually realized that her sister was the more talented composer, and so Nadia devoted herself to teaching and indeed became probably the most famous music teacher of all times. And although Lili only lived to be 24 years old, and she died on March 15th, 1918, her sister Nadia was still active in the 70s, and she died in 1979. One of the things you notice when you listen to the music of Lili Boulanger is that many of her works deal with themes of grief and loss. And this could be because her father, who was 77 years old when she was born, died when she was very young. When you listen to her music, you'll notice that it's very much in the tradition of the Impressionists. In fact, some of her music sounds a little bit like Fauré, who was one of her teachers, and Claude Debussy. Her work is very colorful sounding, and she was very good at setting texts or words to music. There's a real art to taking a poem or some type of text and writing a melody so that the text becomes sung. It's such a tragedy that somebody as talented as Lili Boulanger only lived to be 24 years old. It's hard not to think about what she may have accomplished if her health were better and she had lived a much longer life, like her sister Nadia. But we can be grateful for the music that she did leave behind. I'll be including links to several of her works in the description of this video, and I do hope you'll take the time to listen to some of them. I think you'll find them extremely beautiful and very enjoyable. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing more stories of women composers. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please share this video with other homeschool families and anybody who might be interested in studying the work of women composers. And I'll talk to you in the next one.